Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of the League of Inches podcast, the Supercoach edition, the round 25 review. Round review, obviously a huge weekend. All those massive semi-finals heading into the grand finals next week, and pretty happy overall with my efforts, especially the head-to-head stuff. I feel like I done pretty well personally. Obviously we don't know the final scores at the moment. We're doing this on a Sunday night at about 7:30. So not all the final scores have been sent through yet, and all the updates. But for now, looking pretty good. I was lucky enough. I was pretty fortunate. I got through to the majority of the comps I'm in finals. So done a pretty good job, and I think I'm up on a higher percentage for most. So I'll take that. The old League of Inches draft, it's a tight battle between me and Zachy Boy, but I think he's going to just get me, unfortunately, which is killing me. But the man I'm going to introduce now is looking like he's guaranteed in the finals for that one. No beating him there. No points updates or whatever will hurt his chances. He is through to the inaugural League of Inches draft. Plus a few others we will touch on the old content creator cup. We've been talking about this year, which is full of a lot of the popular creators out there, and we just put a comp together. The League of Inches wash out there. We've got both of us through the grand final, which is huge. We're the underdogs coming into this week. We're versing 1 and 2, finishing 3 and 4 ourselves, and we're through. So some pretty happy faces tonight, and we'll talk about some of these standout performances as well from the weekend. Jesse, how's things?
Yeah, good, pretty good. I was in a bit of doubt actually going into the League of Inches draft today. I think I was projected to lose actually. I'm not. I have to go through it. Marcel scored pretty bad overall in the last 4 plays that he had, and I ended up beating him by 100. Yeah, Suoliti got off, and I think Fafita didn't do much. He had Stone Street who scored quite well, but overall, I think my boys just went a bit harder, and yeah, got him by 100. So I'm in the final, which is great.
There's rumours that Fafita got a bit scared off by Angus Crichton, who was just in a mood on today. So can't confirm or deny, but yeah, apparently Crichton beast mode is a scary, scary sight.
Oh, 100%, especially with his shaved head. Imagine that running at you. No chance. But yeah, the Creators Cup, I've been pretty high up on this one. I really wanted to win this, and yeah, turns out me and you are going into the grand final. So League of Inches, boys. I suppose that's massive.
No trades either, so we're just going to be seeing what happens, I guess.
Yeah, and I get you most weeks, so I have a bit of confidence about this one, but we'll have to see. You scored pretty good this week, but I still would have beaten you. So
you know what? Like, you want to throw a bit of shade, but I just managed to do what you haven't been able to do all year, and I've beaten Sabs twice in about 4 weeks now. So shout out to one of the Supercoach goats. But managed to get him in the Creators Cup this weekend, which I thought I was done for. But yeah, it came through. Had a couple of players that didn't do as well as he would have liked, and so yeah. What you can't do, Jesse, I just consistently seem to do at the moment. That's just take down some of these big dogs.
Well, I would have done it this week, and I could have had a redemption story, but I suppose not to be. But I'm the one in the grand final, so I'm not complaining.
It's going to be big. I think the big thing's going to be on the captaincy this weekend, but we'll talk about that obviously Wednesday night. Coming up now, what was that?
What'd you score?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So at the moment, our score at the moment, let me just bring that up. So I'm sitting on, hang on a second. Every time this happens, my phone, 14,400. So as I said, at the moment, sitting pretty for majority of my comps, but who knows what happens in the next 12 hours. But how do you score?
1464. So just pipped you, but pretty good. I suppose there's been some bigger scores. There's some big scores this week. Like I didn't have Turbo or Harry Grant. You had him, and Teddy as well, actually. So you got quite good. But I suppose you had a nice combination of all of the big dogs. Man, you're scoring 1650, 1700 this week. It's just huge round this round, honestly.
It's nerve-wracking because I feel like next week there's going to be some big dogs getting rested. So I'm very, very anxious about team lists this week, which I think will be a huge episode because there'll be a lot to talk about. Shout out to you, Trav. I hope you're still sitting there watching the highlights of the Roosters-Titans game. That's the rumor at the moment. He's trying to work out why he gave Tupou a couple of points. but that's another one. So guys, let me know in the comments if you're doing a 3-2-1, and obviously this week it's going behind closed doors for us for the last few weeks, but tell me a 3-2-1 for the Roosters game, please. And I just want to see what comes through, because yeah, that's all I'll say. I'm not going to give anyone
Divisive.
hints. I just want you guys to come up with your own.
Yeah, very divisive this round.
This
This
fly's
fly is
fucking
killing
back
you.
and it's doing my fucking head in. Peel the curtain away. Before we started, this fly was buzzing around and I was like, I'll kill it. It's all good. I'll get rid of it. And then it disappeared. I thought I got it back. Knew it would
No
happen.
good.
It's back.
With vengeance.
Talking about comebacks, Manly almost manifested one on Thursday night. Now, goodness me, that was a while ago. Look, Manly, I thought it was hard for them. 30 minutes playing with 12 men was always a hard task. Tigers, their top score was an 86, which was Samuel Afenu, which was huge. A lot of people still probably have him on their books, but most probably didn't play him at all. So an 86 they unfortunately missed out on. Safe Arthur was next with an 82 and Coruscant with an 81. For Manly, Tommy Turbo, 158. Captained him as well, so I was so lucky. I was so nervous that day about doing the straight C on him, but my balls, obviously everyone knows out there by now, are huge, and I just ended up doing it. So you got big balls, you make these big calls. Daylight was second. Garrick 61. That is ridiculous.
Huge drop off.
Scored 26 points. And to be honest, with the Tigers, they scored 34 points and the top score was only an 86. So it was a weird Supercoach game, because majority of those points from Turbo came towards the back end as well, where he just unleashed. And that was in the back of my mind. I knew Manly had to chase some points. So I thought, as a Turbo owner, I was a little bit worried about just after half time, but I thought, you know what? They're going to chase points here. So that will have Turbo's name written all over it. And I was so glad it did. And meant that there was no early resting. He played through to the full 80 minutes. And I thought it was a great performance from Turbo. What about you, Jesse, on this game?
Yeah, well, it was for Manly. It was the Turbo show, and not much else. To be fair, it was. Geez, it didn't seem like anyone was really doing too much. I know Saab bombed 2 tries at the end, and Turbo did himself as well, actually, where he dropped it and kicked it over the sideline. But um, they they lost it for themselves. To be fair, like they had everything going for that game, and they just, I don't know, just threw it away and got complacent. And I think they maybe expected to win. They went in thinking they were going to win it. But they have a shocking record at Leichhardt, so I
Yeah.
suppose it's not super surprising. Um, Cherry Evans, very disappointing, 41. That's
Yeah.
that's heartbreak. He's the most traded in halfback for Cleary replacements, and the stats were there for him at Leichhardt, averaging less than 40 for the last decade, or at Leichhardt or something. It was something ridiculous. But
I mean,
overall, it was just
if you listen to us, you didn't do it. So
no, it's a Sam Walker show, but even still, that wasn't fantastic. We missed out on Reynolds, just the one that went straight over. Um, But yeah, look, Turbo drop off to Garrick, and you just take it for what it is. But for the Tigers, yeah, Finu's 86 is pretty solid. Like um, last week he scored like 26. The week before was a
yeah.
50, and the week before that he turned up as well. So you don't know what you're going to get out of him, and that's sort of the risk you play. But yeah, Seyfarth, the second row was a solid. Coruscant with an 81 was really good, but he's another one of those dudes that'll just do nothing to. And they've got a bye next week, so valuable 2 points for the Tigers, considering the ladder position, especially for the Eels. Um, Galvin with a
Wooden spoon.
47. Yeah, the spoon for the Eels, it looks like it. 47 for Galvin's not too bad. Everyone below, I suppose no one really owns them, but Ola Kawatu did really well to come back with a 58, I think, because he was on about 20 with 20 minutes to go or something real bad, and they kind of just linked up at the end on the right-hand side, and a few points came, but Saab kind of killed Manly just with his butter hands. Just didn't happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Would have
off
been
goes.
nice to get a few more points out of him as well, but
Oh
that's
yeah.
all good. I'll take what he got. So moving on, the first Friday game. This is I'll tell you what, moving game. Watching SJ last home game at Sean Johnson Stadium, as it was called, for the night, and I thought the Warriors would be really up for this one. I think they were at the start. It just sort of their fatigue kicked in about the 30-minute mark and just sort of fell away. And it just shows how good of a team I think this Bulldogs team is at the moment. They sort of wore that early fight from the Warriors, and they were smashed early on. I think it was up 10 or 12 nil early on, and then they just came back into the game. The Bulldogs. I always was tempted to go this guy for Jaden Campbell. Then obviously the Cleary show injury made me hit the reverse button. That was Matty Burton, and he got 101. So that was a nice little bit of points there. Oh, hang on, I think I've frozen. Am I good? No, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
And then
you're good.
that was weird. I don't know. Burton was for mine was the. I said to you guys last week, Burton for mine was the one that I kept looking at, just thinking Cleary to Burton. I just for some reason was tickling my balls, and
Good done.
didn't do it in the end. Obviously, went the
Oh,
Sam Walker option with the better draw with the run home. But for
still
now,
good.
geez, Matty Burton is looking good.
Yeah, 101's massive. Almost, yeah, I suppose the Warriors almost kind of got away with a win for that one, but they just lost it at the end, and it's sort of been their
Yeah,
story for most of the year, and especially at home too. That's why I was like, oh, I'm pretty confident the Dogs will get this one in the bag. But yeah, 101, if you did that trade, there wasn't too many compared to Cherry Evans and Walker, but yeah, he's been really, really good, and you just can't knock him for it. Their run's not as easy as Walker's will be from here
yeah,
on, but again, the Dogs just keep finding a way, so
yeah,
um, he keeps just doing it. But there's a couple of good scores there. Fanua Blake got a pretty hefty rescore up to 77. I think he jumped by about
yeah,
15 points or so, so that was really nice to see. Um, SJ with a 63. A lot of the guys here, they're just sort of plodding along, but going down the ranks for the Warriors, there's a couple of concerning ones. Mitch Barnett, 41, hasn't really been lighting it up since he peaked. He hit that peak where he was tonning up and 800
yeah,
people bought him in, and it's just not happened. Nickel Clock's that 37. Dallin, the usual 29, nothing surprising. Tuivasa-Sheck, 13. Like, there were some bad scores overall, but you can't really say too much different for the Bulldogs, though. It wasn't a really high Supercoach scoring game. Crichton 67 was pretty good, and Sexton 60, but like I'd be disappointed with a 53 out of Carraz, considering he got lucky
yeah.
with the try at the end just to sort of bump the points up. I took that one. I was like,
Geez,
oh,
needed
thank
that.
God, got away with
Needed
that
that.
one. Very impressive outing for Sam Hughes, though, respective
Yes.
48 points. So, you take a very happy 48, but a disappointing 53. So, um, Max King on return, 37, stung me in a draft and cost me. So, thought I got away with one there, a sneaky one off the waivers, and just no good. But maybe next week. And Tracy 32 has not been very good. He's been pretty solid for the last few weeks. So they'll come back around, I
Yeah,
reckon. Big
yeah,
big away
no.
trip. So
I know Trevor's been a bit worried the last few weeks with Aiden Fanua-Blake, but he doesn't look like he's slowed down too much. Like he's, as you said, a nice rescore and stuff. So it's been a nice little patch, I guess, for Fanua-Blake. He's got one more game to go for the Warriors, and then
yep.
it's see you later. So he is leaving as well. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about that with all the SJ stuff. So next week
Mm.
sorry, the bye next week, and then into the last round. So
No,
oh,
their
sorry, no,
buys last round.
yeah,
Tigers bye
sorry, no,
next
I'll
week.
keep getting confused. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got the game this week, then the bye in the last round. So one more game for Fanua-Blake. Next up, we've got the Broncos versus the Eels, 30 points to 24. Broncos beating the Eels, and goodness me, Reynolds has been nowhere this year, and Jesse got him up on the waivers a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, what the hell's he doing? And in the week that it needs it, 122 points.
That's
Christian
it.
Saylor decided he's finally a footballer again and scored a nice 100 as well, which don't know who out there has him. Maybe the draftees out there, but that's
That's
about
it.
it. Cobbo, I picked up Cobbo in the wave. I was very happy about this one. I knew he'd go pretty big against Parramatta, 88, Carrigan an 84, and for the Eels, Offa Hengawi a 90. So I thought he was very, very good on the weekend, actually. What do you make of this one?
Um, it was up and down, wasn't it? I didn't know who was going to
Yeah.
win this at the end. It was just, yeah,
It just shows you Parramatta have dead set forgotten how to win football
they have.
games.
Yeah,
It's
they had it. They had it in the bag. They needed to see it through, and they just couldn't compose
yeah.
themselves enough to seal it.
Reynolds was the
Unfortunately,
difference. Reynolds
yeah,
was the difference.
yeah. He decided to turn it up real late, and yeah, 122 points got me through to a final. I had Cobbo last week. I picked him up to loop in my other Gidley draft, and I played him to get Saab's 89 points off the bench. I was like,
Ah,
sweet, happy days. And then this week, I actually dropped him. Um, because I didn't really think of playing him too much. I was just like, oh, whatever, I won't do much. I'll play Saab against the Tigers confidently, and I ended up dropping Cobbo playing Saab, and it backfired a little bit too. So yeah, 88 points is really big.
You know
Stunned.
what? That's karma for looping. You cheat.
Well, I could have looped into the final, but I missed out. So I
Well
suppose
done.
yeah. But a lot of good, valuable draftee options for the Broncos, but again, very irrelevant for the classic side of things. Sailor would have been a great pickup for a fullback. Jensen is a great front rower. He's been very solid for the last month or so. Even Josh Rogers too, 64 with a try, so that was pretty good for him. My opponent had
Tried to
him.
get him.
Yeah, there you go. So a lot of people did. Dean Mariner, super disappointing considering how many points were in this game. It just never seemed to go his way. I think he could have had a couple too, and it just didn't happen. But yeah, overall, man, it was Reynolds. Reynolds was the difference,
Yeah.
and yeah, he priced up according. So, but for the Eels, geez, Joe O, 90 points, surprising. It's massive for him.
Huge.
Gutho keeps doing it too. Been very solid lately. I suppose he kind of does see out the season well, doesn't he? Regardless of the form of the Eels.
Yeah.
Gutho's been scoring pretty good, 72 there. Plays with the 53. There's just not too much. Dylan Brown dropped off 40 points.
Yes.
So he's
I
been
just
he's had a
brought
bit of
his stats
a
up.
dull.
So he's had a very bad, I guess for his standards, a pretty bad 3 weeks. So Penrith 54, Roosters 36, and then obviously this week a 40 against the Broncos. It's just
Yeah.
really fallen away for those that kept him, and it hasn't really been a great decision, has it?
No, well I had the choice to sell him or Galvin. And, 9 times out of 10 going into the beginning of a season, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna keep Dylan Brown every day of the week."
Yeah.
But I just didn't like the run, and I suppose it's easy to look back on hindsight now and say it was a good decision, but I suppose when he got that 80 or 90 something a few weeks back, when I sold him, I was like, "Oh, no. Whoops, made the wrong one." But no, he has been pretty poor. The Eels have been pretty poor. Like, it's just he was obviously overperforming in a very bad side trying to carry the rest of the team, and I suppose this time of the year, it's just, what's the point in a way? But
Uh,
yeah, wouldn't be very happy with a 40, not considering.
no.
So
I'll tell you, it was a good decision to trade him. So I don't
yeah,
care about hindsight. Great move.
yeah, definitely.
So I did
Garvin
the
looks
same.
fantastic either. So yeah, exactly.
Um, Tell you what, upset of the round and upset of a while now, but Adam from League of Inches, I know you've got some Raiders fans on site with you now because you hit the nail on the head by tipping this one. The Raiders 22 beating the Penrith Panthers 18, which has shaken up the top four. This is a
Oh yeah,
huge result. The way things are looking now, it could very well be a Storm versus Penrith first week of finals, and then one of those are basically in sudden death football and have to win 3 in a row to win the competition, which is going to be very, very hard to do. And one of the real big dogs of this competition could be out within 2 weeks of basically straight sets of finals, which is huge. But the Raiders have helped out here. And in saying that, who knows? It could be another upset or two in the next couple of weeks and they go back up into that second position. But at the moment, between them, Sharks and the Roosters, great little battle going on there. There's Isaiah We've continually talked about Isaiah all year about getting him to be one of those consistent 70 guys. And this week he was more than that. He's 102. So absolutely fantastic. Go for Isaiah Yo. Dane Laurie, again, just ever since he's been in here, he's just been really, really consistent, good score. And this time was on the wing, a 97. James Fisher-Harris, an 85. And over for the Raiders, your man, Joe Tarpany, has been huge, 98.
yep.
Kind of regretting away leaving May in my team a few weeks ago and not getting Tarpany in, but that is what it is.
Mm.
And Xavier Savage, an 80. For any of those who still have him for some unknown reason, you've got paid off nicely with an 80. Shout out, not in a best way for those Edward owners who probably went to him last week. Didn't really work out for you. There was some big scores from some fullbacks, which we've already touched on and will touch on a bit more with a few more games, but it was just a bit underwhelming, I thought, for this game.
Yeah, well, like there was a few underwhelming big dog players in the Panthers side this week, and obviously they lost. So it
So,
does make sense. But Toto's a massive one. Yeah, Toto for you anyway, 47. Like, it's not a bad score for a center wing if you needed to just get numbers on the board as a minimum. But you're not getting him for 47. You're getting him for 100. So that's not very nice. And I suppose you could say the same about Dylan Edwards. You're getting him for what you would expect to be 100 points or 80 to 90 on average. It just wasn't happening for those two. Jerome Luai 24. Holy shit, very bad. There was a lot of people that traded in for him this week. I had
But if
him
they
obviously in
listen
my
to me,
draft, and yeah, well, he was in my draft team and cooked me a little. So one of the few that scored dog shit. But Casey McLean 21. So there was some bad scores for a lot of players that were heavily played. Um, man, 102. Like a few weeks ago, he was what 550, 600K, and looked like a fantastic buy. Obviously underpriced because I consider him a 700K with his 70 average, but he's been great. If he got onto that move, it was a really, really good trade, and I wish I'd done it as well. But obviously, you can only play so many second rowers at a time, and where does he sort of fit with the other boys? But yeah, he's been scoring more than them. So
talking about that, can we start a petition now, please? Can we have lock forwards as front row forwards next year, please, Supercoach?
please,
Lock forwards are front row forwards. They are not back rowers. Put them in the front row category, please.
it would just make so many more players super relevant. Like you get
Yeah.
Yo would be owned by almost everyone.
Yeah.
Carrigan would be a great pickup. Cameron Murray would be a
Haas would honestly
fantastic
become
pickup.
like a pod. Haas
He
would
would
become a
be.
pod. It'd open the game up, I reckon.
Yeah, well, you've got 60 to 80-minute locks that you'd be playing in your front row, then a
Mm.
50-minute front rower. Like you do it every single day of the week. Um, Fantasy has that down. Fantasy has the locks as front and second rowers, and they know kind of what the deal is. And yeah, I don't know. It's just never going to happen, unfortunately. We never get that lucky. Dane Laurie,
They need
97. Shit, man. Dane Laurie has been a freak. He has been scoring like 100 points almost every game that he's played. Doesn't matter where to. Put him on the wing, put him at fullback. Um, and it doesn't look like he's going to lose that spot either. I think he's going to see the year out. So
Yeah.
Um, you obviously can't buy him at this point. Like it's a bit too late for that. But if you had him well early on when Edwards went down, I think you hit the luck with that one. So who knows actually about the half situation too, considering they did lose in a game that they were probably expected to win. I reckon, is Jack Cole injured or is he just not
No,
selected?
he wasn't selected, which I just thought was crazy. I would have had him ahead of Snyder every day of the week. I keep talking
Yeah.
about it. People are assuming Talangi's a guaranteed 6 next year for him, mate. I rate Jack Cole right up there. I think he's a very, very good young talent and probably one of the best young talents in the game at the moment. I actually thought it was pretty crazy for Penrith to sign Blaze because I didn't think Blaze fits into this team because look, Blaze has a lot of work to do. I think Blaze is a great player, but Cole is just Cole is a player. I
Mm,
just I don't get it.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think we might
I
see
don't
him
get
next week, to be
him
honest.
not being ahead of Snyder either. I really don't get that.
Yeah, there must have been something there because he's an easy play. And it's just better for the team overall. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see what the Panthers do next week. There'll be a big response, I think. I don't think they're in any position to be resting at this stage. So
I was going to make that point. That's probably a good thing now for all us owners of like Toto and I was saying last week, Lou, I'll probably get rested. It might not happen now because they're actually now playing. They could be playing for a top 4 spot still. I'm just going to quickly have a look at the ladder while we're live on air. So hopefully my internet's not playing up in it.
oh, there he goes. Speak of the devil, internet's gone. I'll just go on the Raiders in general anyway. But yeah,
Make the
Tarpany,
the 8.
you good? You've been in and out.
Yeah. No, I'm good. You good?
Yeah, yeah. I was just going to talk about the Raiders. You got the ladder up?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, with the run,
So
go. You're killing me.
the Storm first, Penrith. The NRL app hasn't even updated. I don't know why. They've got Rooster still on. They've shut the bit NRL app. This is disappointing. We're trying to talk about this live now, and it's absolutely stuffed me up. It's all over the shop. It's nothing is true at all here. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to do that anymore because my NRL app is playing up.
Yeah. Well, basically, they need to win. That's the
Yeah.
kind of getting to
Yes.
the point is they just need to keep winning. Um, Raiders did well, man. I suppose Adam picked it. I had no hope for the Raiders this game, but they obviously did enough. Tarpany 98 has been a revelation. He has been scoring massive points in the front row, and he's been the front rower to have for the last maybe how far back can you go? 6 weeks, 8 weeks even. Very, very solid. Xavier Savage, 80 points is really good. Young, 62. I suppose it's what he does. The scores kind of weren't there, Supercoach wise, for the Raiders in general, but they did enough to win. Like 41 out of Fogarty's not fantastic. 50 for Rapana, 50s. There's a lot of 50s, a lot of just average things getting around. So, yeah, it was a solid, gutsy win for the Raiders, but Supercoach wise, unless you had Tarpany, there's not really much else to look at. So, are you there at all, or are you frozen? I think Joel's frozen out. We'll go into the next game. So we've got Melbourne versus the Dolphins. This was massive. Melbourne with 48 points over 6 to the Finns. I suppose it was a fire sale for tries for these blokes. They went hard. Jerome Hughes 132, Harry Grant 129. It was hello mate, you're back.
My internet completely just shut off. What the
Yeah,
fuck was that?
I just had to keep it going. Just waiting
Sorry
for you.
about that. Sorry about that. I've got the professional himself that just doesn't stop though. This is what he's here for.
Just panic stations. Just set the
We're
alarms
up to
off.
Storm.
We're up to Storm. Yeah, I was just
Oh.
talking about how bloody good the top 4 blokes were for him. So, um, like it started off Harry Grant. Harry Grant was doing bloody everything. He was on about 100 at halftime, and then I suppose all the others just they kept up and excelled. Jerome Hughes 132. I was just mentioning, it's just insane. Like he's so worried about him a few weeks ago, taking a hit and then getting rested and being such a worry and almost a trade out. I almost traded him out. Very, very glad I didn't. He was a difference in a lot of head-to-heads this week, Jerome Hughes.
A lot of people got rid of him.
Yeah, fair few. Even, the next bloke I mentioned, Pappenhausen, 108. I got rid of him. I got rid of him for Ponga. To be fair, Ponga has outscored Pappenhausen collectively since I've traded them, but having that trade in the pocket would have been really handy. But I just, after the 20 odd points from Pap a few weeks ago, I was like, nah, he's not there. He's not there, and he has been there since. So it's a bittersweet one, but no, very impressive. Even Josh King too, 87 with a late try. God, I wish I played him in draft. I would have won.
Yeah.
So many things that I can point the finger to in that thing. It breaks my heart.
Obviously, guys, you can tell this is eating at Jesse at the moment. This
is.
draft means a lot to him. He used to talk about draft higher up than classic, so draft's his baby.
Yeah, this particular league that I lost this week too. It's the only loss that I took this week, and it's the most important draft that I hold dearest. I'd give them all away for that one. Honestly, I really would. Eli Katoa 85 keeps doing the thing, just what you would expect out of Eli Katoa week to week. Farlongo as well, 81. So really good to see him back playing and scoring tries again. Man, out of all these massive scores, where was Cameron Munster? That's what surprises me. There was so much on offer for everyone, and he just didn't seem to get his hands on it when it mattered. And it just, him and Wishart, like I suppose Wishart obviously wasn't as amongst it all as the other 4 were, but yeah, it was a really good show for Melbourne. What do you reckon about the Dolphins? Haven't spoken at all on them yet, so.
Yeah, look, I just think that, like, I'm going to talk about them in like an NRL point of view. Run out of gas. Like, it's disappointing because they look like they were almost unbackable favourites to make the 8 6 weeks ago. Like, they just looked like they had to win a couple of games at most, and they'd just cruise in and look like at one stage they were smoky for like a top, sort of around that top 4 even, and they've almost hardly won a game since. And
yeah,
look, they've had a bit of a challenging run. I think we spoke about that a few weeks ago, but at the same time before that, they had some games where they did lose by like a matter of points against teams where they should have just beaten them, and it's disappointing. I think Hammer, once again, I know Trav was all over Hammer a few weeks ago, but he's just almost done nothing since Origin. And that first week he came back against Penrith, it was really good. And then just since that, he's almost looks like he doesn't want to be out the field, if I'm being brutally honest about him. It's sort of been disappointing.
Yeah, he's sucking a lot of people in.
Yeah, Hammer hasn't stopped trying, which 62 is okay, but not much you can ask for when they scored 6 points. Like we just spoke about it
Herbie.
before with that Tigers game, how many points were scored and how weird it was to see the points. Well, you've only scored 6 points. Like 62 is probably 100 when you think about it. Like when they only score 6
Yeah.
points. Herbie was
Yep.
everywhere. Like I'm almost tempted if I was Wayne Bennett right now, I'd be swapping Herbie and Hammer around for the last 2 weeks, throwing everything out into the wind, letting Herbie have a few weeks at fullback, and just going, you know what, mate, you're showing like you want a bit more. You got the desire a bit more. Go out and have a go. So I'd let Herbie have a go at fullback.
It's an interesting take. I think like Hammer can obviously play center, so
That's what I mean.
I don't think
He's
he'd do
still
a
in the
bad job
game
there.
and chase it if you want it. Like we've seen Herbie do that last few weeks. So
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how Herbie goes at fullback. Honestly, I just think he could be one of those situations. Like obviously he's got the work rate and he's got the effort, so he won't do a bad job there.
yeah,
Um, but maybe center's his spot. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just a specialist center and you just kind of leave him. But he could be like another Joey Manu. You know what I mean? Like if he just gets that run, imagine how good he could be. But yeah, the Dolphins, they kind of did it last season too. They fell off late. They just didn't seem to have it in the tank, and
yeah.
maybe it's the inexperience of the players they've got, the young ones. But either way, well, I've got a lot of old blokes there now too. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. They just exactly the
Caught
same
up
thing
to him.
happened last season. They just come out of the gates a bit too strong, and yeah, fatigue come in. But nothing super relevant for this team. Plath 44 is the most relevant player the Finns have got at the
Yeah,
moment, and you'd be a bit disappointed with the 44 considering he's been doing 60s, 70s almost every week on average. So um, not too much else to touch on. Friggin' hell, Zarko 20. God, that's he fell off,
glad I got
man.
out of that.
Yeah, me too. Me
Not
too.
worth it.
Um, but
Has
yeah,
Trav said what he scored this week? By the way, like let's
I have no
can you do
idea
a
what
live?
Trav scored.
Is
Um,
that do you have you got him saved or anything?
oh, I have a rivalry with him, but I don't know if I can see his round
He's
25
been
point.
very quiet on the chat. He's been very boisterous about Roosters players and sticking the knife in on the chat this afternoon. But anytime it comes to Supercoach, he hasn't really said much. So I'm going to assume old Chubby Boy hasn't done too well this week.
Well, he had Turbo and Ponga, and he captained Turbo. I know he
Oh,
had
so he's set.
Karaz, he had Young, he had Kyle Lero, he had Garrick Marzu. I feel like he didn't score as much as us, but I don't think he scored bad. I think he would have been somewhere in,
Mid
if I just had to
13s.
take a punt, mid 1300s.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of decent players in his side, and he got the captain right, so makes a
As
difference.
long as I
But
beat him, that's all I care about.
if he played Azarko, like if he had the reserve on Azarko or McLean over any of the others, um, that would have hurt him a little bit. But like I know he plays Eero every week. I know he swears by him. He probably would have played Plath too. So
Yeah.
yeah. Where are you, Trav?
Uh,
We're just guessing. You can just let us know. It's as easy as that.
We'll see how right we are next time we're
Yeah.
on air. Next game up, the Newcastle Knights, too good for the Rabbits, 36 to
Oh yeah.
16. This was one game I actually didn't really watch, so I can't say too much about this game. This is little boy's birthday yesterday, so by this time I was pretty knackered. I was just relaxing and ended up watching a movie and just chilling out for a bit. But Gagai 137, been in beast mode. Now, he's been very, very good lately. Sort of a go-to guy in attack, whereas we probably predicted it would have been Pongo, but sort of in a way been Gagai as well. Like last week was a 96 as well that he backed up. This week's score of 137. Cogger was huge, 120, but no idea who actually have Cogger in their side. Maybe some draftees out there. And Ponga at 97, who I think got a downgrade today with his
Yeah.
points. I think he was over that 100 mark. So
103
little
probably.
downgrade. Not cracking
Mm.
100 yet, KP. It's all good. Not all of us can have it. Both our fullbacks crack hundreds consistently.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. What am I going to say to that? I had the 103. I was like, oh, cool. Softens the blow to that 160 that I missed out on for Turbo. But like, you'll take the near 100 points, but it's still 60 points less than Turbo. It's like, holy shit. There's differences, man. But the
Can't
budget
believe it.
talks. Yeah, I know. Huge. Gagai's been massive, hasn't he? I
Yeah.
suppose. But he always is. You know what I mean? Like Gagai's always that guy that's just a freak and you never get on him because you just don't know if it's going to keep going. And it always does. It's been going for 2 years, 3 years even. Um, and his price doesn't drop ever. So you always have to pay premium for him, and you always think there's a better option. Where you know what? I'm just going to say there isn't a better option most of the time. I think if you just get Gagai to begin with and you just have him for the whole year, you'll be very happy with him by the end.
Yeah.
He was in my team of the year last year for centre wings, and there's a chance that I might even look at him again this year because he's just this ever consistent, like 137. You take that every day. Cogger with a 120 come out of nowhere. I think he got a couple of tries too.
Yeah, he did.
But like, surely, come on, Adam O'Brien. Stop playing roulette with your halves and just stick with a
Yeah.
couple. Like you get a few tries. It was a good game for the Knights. Dylan Lucas had a good game too. Greg Marzio was really quiet, 38. I feel like he was actually really decent though. Like watching the game, I think he was up and about. Like he was putting pressure on, but just didn't do enough to make points. Pierce Paul obviously had that leg laceration where had to go to hospital and get stitches during the game, so it was looked like must have been pretty bad. And Frizzell, Category 1 HIA, 15 points. They lost both second rowers, and they were still able to do enough to get a win. So solid for the Knights. For the South, Tane Milne ended up on an 88 somehow. I feel like he's done that a couple of times this year.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, if you only ever
Oh,
looked at his scores, you'd think he's actually quite good of a player. But yeah, no.
that's the most misleading thing I reckon in the game.
Yeah.
Tane Milne's Supercoach points compared to him actual NRL caliber player.
They don't happen. But Supercoach points is an entirely different thing, and you take the 88 if you
He actually got
had
an
them.
88 last week as well against the Tigers. So he got back-to-back 88s. You know what, Tane? I'm all over you this week. Get another 88. Get a hat trick. Go
Yeah,
88 again, brother.
he's had a few 50s. There was like 50-50, and then you go back, and there was
100.
101 in round 20. And you're like, oh, is Tane Milne actually a good Supercoach player?
Get him next year. Get him in.
Not a chance on earth. Cameron Murray, 73. Oh, Cameron Murray got himself in a bit of strife now. It doesn't look like he might even be back for the rest of the year.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, and they didn't even sin bin him instantly too. They had to go back and pull the play up and say, okay, we need to send him to the bin. I think if they hadn't have done that, it would have been a worse look, considering the sin binnings that they had to Olakawatu, a couple of bins they missed out on, the sin bin they didn't give to
Crichton.
Stephen Crichton. Exactly right. And then they have to just pull this
Horrible.
one back and say, look, if this one's not a sin bin, and then you go back to the first game and Olakawatu's was, you're going to have people begging for an investigation.
Yeah.
And they sent him to the bin, and now he's going to get a couple of weeks. So it puts a halt to his scoring average. So it will stop his points going up for next year, because I still very much consider him a great buy next year. But I think he's going to be around that 600, like early 600 price tag, hopefully going into the start of next season. And I'm happy with that. I think it's where he was this year to start. So if he can keep it going, I'm kind of glad, because if he had another 2 weeks of like really good scores, and you're paying premium for him again, and I'm glad it stopped, to be fair. The Rabbits got nothing left to play
Mate,
for. I'm looking forward to next season.
you're getting ready for some finals. Don't worry about next year yet. You've still got plenty of stuff to talk about for this year. So
Oh, it's all right. I've got plenty to think about. It's like 4D chess. Thinking, okay, I win this one, and then who takes me to the next win?
you know what? Cook was disappointing. 48.
Cook
Needed
was
that.
disappointing, 48. Yeah, kind of brings him back down to earth a little bit. But again, 48's like, it's not bad for a hooker. They've all been scoring around that 50 points, but he's just been banging 90s out. So it's been pretty good. Kalama Tungi, 34. Terrible. Really, really bad. That sucks. For anyone that owns him, he's been bad for the last couple of weeks after riding high for so bloody long too. So it's a bit of a shame. But outside of that, Talis Duncan was really good, 64. Did you play him? No, you sold him,
No.
didn't you?
Yeah. But hey, I told everyone he was good in this little patch. No one
Yeah.
listened.
You didn't. Anyway,
He's been good the last couple of weeks, old
he has.
Donkey boy, old Talis
Yeah,
boy. So I
definitely
am
has.
very much looking out for him for next year. You're talking about next year with Cam Murray. I'm talking next year for Duncan. If he can land that edge roll,
Yeah,
oh,
definitely. Well, I was keen on
oh,
him at the beginning of this year, but he never got the spot. So it was just like,
yeah.
oh, what's the point? I think he was in all
Yeah,
of our
I'm like
starting
even
teams.
price
So
tag. If he's up 400 or 500 or something, I'm gonna buy him. I think he's
yeah,
gonna be good next year.
Yeah, he'll probably be mid 400s, but like we were stacked with mid 400 players this year, and I think the upside's definitely there for him. So next
I
game,
think that's it for that one.
yeah,
That's it for the next one. Your mighty Roosters, you're up and about. You got wins everywhere. You just dubbed today. Dubbed City for you. 48 beating the Gold Coast Titans 22. I think that was the last home game as well for the Titans, so we're not going to be hearing any more loud noises and stuff in our TVs continuously. Daniel Tupou top scored 123. It's so good when you're on a back line like that. You can just pick up the ball and put it down and just rack up points. So
yeah,
he didn't. We talk about
the
games
magnet.
and stuff, misleading stats and Supercoach scores. Supercoach scores is one of the most misleading stats with Daniel Tupou because that was. I didn't think he was that great today. And 123 is so good. I think.
Well, he got 4 line breaks. Got
Is
24
the
points
line
in
break
hit up.
over 10 meters? Is that what it is?
No, line breaks if you break the line.
But is there a line? Like, is there a meterage?
No, not for line breaks. You just get through the line. That's your 10 points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
okay.
40 points in line breaks alone, 14 in tackle bust. You got 2 tries. You got a try assist. Like you just raking points in, just making them come from nothing, just breathing and points will appear. Like it's just nuts. But again, that's the Roosters when they're on. They all do that. They're all just all up and about it. It's a really good game. Angus Crichton with a hat trick. Khan Pereira with a hat trick. Like a couple of weapons out there. Khan
Yeah.
Pereira's rapid, man. He was cruising. He was jogging and left the whole team for dead. I back
Hey,
my Titans for the relay, honestly.
I was going to say it looks if they can stay within a few meters when they give the baton to him, I'll tell you what, he's in with a chance.
Yeah, he was just his stride isn't even massive. I don't even know how. He was like Dom Young looked cooked that game. I'll say it. He did
Mm.
not look great. He didn't score great with a try too. He got 33 points. Woeful considering the hat trick last week and the 124. But um, there was no catching him. There was no catching Kyle Pereira, and he did it a couple times too. So yeah, he looked really, really good. So did Keeney. So did Fermor. But again, just yeah, not enough for the mighty Roosters. They're just too solid. But Teddy, the
Mate,
ever reliant, 117.
I was going to say, how dare you go past him?
No chance. Captain, oh captain, weapon. God love him. He's just so good. I'll take
Uh,
the 117 every day of the week. I don't have turbo, and I'm happy that I got that captain score. Honestly, I was so worried about it. I was like, if this turbo if the Teddy captain doesn't work, everyone that doesn't have turbo is going to be left behind. So it did
Yeah.
soften the blow a little bit. What else have we got? Yeah, Tupanua's 97 was pretty great, to be honest. He had a lot of
He
stats.
played good. He played good today. He was good.
Yeah, Trav, he played really good. He did his job very well. I'll say that. He was where he needed to be. And if it was just a couple of passes that got the points, then it's what he had to do. And he did them perfectly well. Sam Walker, 63. Not exactly what you want. Kind of want maybe 20 more points than that, but um, it'll come. It's not the worst thing in
It's
the
sort of
world.
what he's been getting in a way. So
Yeah, it'll
I think
be.
we wanted it last week as well. We're going from trading a guy whose stealing is like 150 to 160. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
To
you can't compare
guys
them.
who's stealing, like they can't consistently do those 90s. Like they just haven't been able to do it in the past. And yeah, Walker had a nice little run there. He had like round 21 Manly 111, Dolphins 105. Last week against an easy opposition, Parramatta 52. So that was a bit disappointing. And then again, you'd probably argue that this was a bit of a disappointing game against that sort of opposition and the points that were scored. But hey, I think the top two for Cleary trades were out of him and DCE. So you've got a small victory there because
Yeah,
he obviously outscored DCE by about 20 odds. So
yeah, yeah. You take it. Joe Manu, 37 is not very great either. So just
yeah,
that right side,
class.
it just wasn't very good for the right side. Bradley was nowhere. Dom Young, Manu, they were all sort of nowhere.
Yeah.
They found great success on the left. So
Great
you know,
success.
well, that's the thing.
Great.
How many of their tries were on the left? I suppose they only had Dom Young's on the right. That
Well,
might have
Dom
been
Young
it.
had that disallowed try early on as well where he stepped
Yeah,
on the outline. So
yeah. Yeah. And then, there was Crichton's 3, there was the other 2, there was Teddy's. Everything kind of went the other way, but yeah, is what it is. It was a great win.
It's like the Roosters in a way. They have a meeting at the start of the week and go, you know what, we know we've got some great attacking spark, so we're going to go either side early on. Whoever's the first to actually get the try, we're going to keep going there for the game. Like this today, Dom Young stuffed
Just
up, so they're
focus on
going,
it.
you know what, we're going out to Tupou. Tupou nails it. All right, we're going left today.
Well, you think about it, right? You don't get a second chance. If you buckle the try, you don't get another chance. When you look at the Manly game, where Saab bombed one, and then he bombed another one, and then they bombed another one, and they kept going right and kept bombing
Yeah.
tries. Maybe mix it up. Maybe go the other way. Find, something else, anything different, and you'll probably
Fine,
work something
Lehigh.
out.
I was waiting for
Yeah,
it.
you had Hopewadi on the other side, like begging for it. Cooler was there, but no, just keep going the same way. That's not working. Where the Roosters kind of work that out pretty quickly and go, okay, we're gonna find this
I
up.
needed
So
one more try from your Lehigh brother. I needed one more try. I thought it was a master stroke to bring him in. Far out.
I've had him in my
Last
draft for a
game.
few weeks.
What was that?
All right, I've had him in my other draft for a few weeks now. Hopewadi is my fullback, and
Yeah.
he's been good. He's been really good. I was
Good
hoping for
job.
more out of him this week.
Disappointing. Last one, Sharkies
Brutal.
38 defeating the Dragons 10 annihilation there. They just Sharknado came out in that second half and absolutely put the cleaners through the Dragons. The Dragons, Bird top scored with a 64. And Tui Pelotu, who's just been a bit under the radar this year, is 61. So nice and solid there for Tui Pelotu. Zaki Lomax, 59. A little bit disappointing in a way, just because we know what he can get. And like there was 2 tries almost within about a few minutes where he could have easily got and won the referee. Honestly, Ashley Klein, you had a shocker today. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's been with you this year. You've been horrible. I'll call you out. Ashley
Oh,
Klein, if you follow listen to the podcast, get out of the bloody way. What are you
well, you know what?
doing? You're in the line of attack.
Do you reckon if we ran a charity boxing match and sent an invitation to Ashley Klein that you and him square up in the ring?
I'll do it for charity. Ash,
Call him out.
let's go, brother. You might be fitter than me.
Balls in your court,
Um,
Ashley Klein.
I'll,
Invites
I'll,
in the
I'll,
mail.
it's coming. If you want to see that charity match, guys, you know what to do. Get in the comments. Let us know. We'll make it happen. Joel, Ashley Klein, December 12th. Let's do this.
Holy shit, he's picked a date too. Where
I
at?
don't know when December 12th is. Let's
Win
go Win
Stadium.
Stadium. I'll knock you. I'll knock you
Ding.
where you just were with the ball hit you. Next time will be
Oh,
me fist. So
damn.
honestly, what are you like? What was he doing? Like, and I was watching that going, oh, this is exactly what I need right now. I needed this try. It was a
Yeah.
try for all money.
Yeah. Then just, no. What do you do, man? Killer.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, screwed it. But Kyle Hero,
Yeah.
gun. Freaking hell. He's found his legs. He's been scoring 60s, 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 and all of a sudden it's been like near tons, 80, 90, 100 now, 110. Like, you wish you got on him, even more so. Is
I
that
wish I listened to
the
myself.
one that got
Like I
away?
said it.
That'll have
It
to be the
is
one
good.
that got away for you this year, surely.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I kept saying, I go, this is one of the players for me for the run home. And I went Mulatalo. What
I
an
just don't know
idiot.
why you didn't get on him when he was 200K. Like, what happened?
I didn't have faith at the time that Fitzy would stick with him. And I had other things happening at the time as well because I think I had some injuries that I needed to deal with. And I just shut the bet on that. My bad.
Anyway, screwed up. Yeah,
I
he was
screwed up. And next year I'm going to buy him for 800K just to make sure I have him.
You know what? He might even be worth it. If his floor's 60, like I'd pay 800 for someone with a floor of 60.
Oh, yeah.
Britton Nakora 96, Jesse Ramian 90, Trindle 80. Like, when the Sharks win a game, it's those guys that score well, and it's every single time too. I think Nakora's probably been the most informed second rower.
Yeah.
Because like Crichton had a really good game this week, but over the last month they haven't been that. Kaloa Matungi's dropped off a cliff. Dave Fafita,
He
we
can
didn't
run a
mention him in the
line.
last
Goodness
game.
me, he can
Oh,
run a
Jesus
line.
Christ, he just picks it too, and he just pumps all the way through, gets a try almost every game. Between him and, like, Eli Katoa, I just don't know who else is really competing for that top center second row spot in the short term anyway, like in this later
Yeah.
into the season. He's just been a freak. Stone Street's been really, really good too. 78 points from him, and he could have had another try, and Kylie Rowe could have had another assist. So, there was more points gone begging, but that was a very impressive show, especially second half for the Sharks. They really came out and just put them to the sword, but there was nothing left for the Dragons. Like, I suppose their season's win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, and this was their loss. So kind of made sense for them. But
Yep.
look, we can go back to last week because I'm going to mention it now when we we're talking about halfbacks and which potential halves could be a good option. And I thought, you know what? If the Dragons put on something here and the highest try assist tally scorer so far of this season does in Ben Hunt, he could be a good pickup. 18 points. I hope
He's
no one
kept
did
me
it.
in the draft.
I hope no one did it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. It's a very unexpected score from him. But like you got 18 from him, you got 20 something from Luai. Like there was some shit scores. Cherry Evans too. There was no good option really in that sort of selection. It's really Burton was the best one because Reynolds really isn't a long term play. But um, yeah, not a lot happening for them outside of Lomax and Little. Really, they're the two that have been super consistent, and they have been like Little with 58. It's really
Yeah.
good for just an
Oh.
average sort of hooker score out of him. He just keeps doing it. You've got him in draft, don't you?
Yeah, and Nikora stuffed me because he fisted the ball away near the end there, that
Yeah,
Lomax crossfield bomb that Little was directly under the
yeah.
sticks, caught it, try. Mate, Nikora, you're up by 20 odd. Just let him have the try, bro. You let me win me draft league and
It was a
I
bloody
would have
good
loved
kick
you
too.
forever,
It
but
almost landed
ah,
right on top of him. It was just Nakora
it was
effort.
on. It was
Yeah,
on.
no good.
That was just after as well. Peel the curtain back, guys. One last final minute before we go. I was behind before this game started in this draft comp. I reckon I was behind by almost 200 points. Almost. It was ridiculous. I just gave up. I went, this is a G up. Far out. I won the comp. I was leading the minor premiers, so I was up the top all year. And I was like, this is a G up. Lost Holmes, lost Drinky. Then Zach puts in the chat going, can't believe Joel's still in this. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, nice shit talk. Like, yeah, funny, brother, funny. Looked on the app and I was literally like 10 points behind him at this rate. I was like, what is happening? And then noticed that Hero was scoring so well. And then I look up at the bombs coming over and I'm like, oh shit, Nikora's hit that out. And then I went back and looked at the replay and I realized it was Little. I was like, oh, it would have been the greatest comeback of all in Supercoach draft history.
yeah, yeah. It would have been pretty well up there. I'm just looking at him again. Taylor May sort of screwed you. Frizzell getting knocked out. Look, I had Frizzell in my league too, and him getting knocked out was kind of the nail in the coffin
That
for
hurt
me.
me.
I ended up losing by about 50, and I left 60 points on the bench with Josh King and had the opportunity to loop. I had Cobbo over Saab. I could have
Oh,
got 40 odd points there that I threw to the waivers. Like, yeah, I just threw it away. I threw the win away. And um, yeah, when you get a HIA though, and it's completely out of your hands, you just blame that. Like, none of my
yeah.
terrible decisions were my fault. It was that.
Friz
So
got
yeah,
me as
if
well.
you
So it
lose,
does
it's
hurt.
because Frizzell got knocked out. And even if you got a below average score, you still win. That's the worst part. So, oh well, I think you've gone and got yourself frozen again. Um, I don't think there's too much more to really touch on outside of the round that was. And if Joel doesn't make an appearance in the next few seconds, I'm pretty much going to wrap this one up. 1, 2. All right. Well, good luck in anyone who made it into their head-to-head finals. It's a big week for it. I know I've got him. I've got to play Joel in the final now, and I'm very, very confident. I don't think he's got much of a chance against me, to be fair. So if he listens back on this one and he hears that, suck it, Joel. You're going to lose. But have fun. Enjoy your head-to-heads. Enjoy Supercoach week, and we'll see you next time. See ya.